Okay, let's unpack this. We often see celebrity interviews as this perfectly choreographed dance, right?
Hmm.
The star is promoting something, the interviewer is asking friendly questions, maybe a few quirky ones, but it's all very controlled,
Yeah.
very polished.
Yeah, usually. But sometimes
Yeah,
things go completely off script.
exactly.
They absolutely do. There are moments when that power dynamic shifts entirely and the celebrity decides, well, they've had enough.
Oh,
They
yeah?
push back against questions or interviewers they feel are being rude or intrusive or just plain disrespectful.
And that's precisely what we're taking a deep dive into today. Those specific instances where the star just like draws a line in the sand.
Our source material for this deep dive is a fascinating compilation presented in a YouTube video. It's titled Celebrities Shutting Down Disrespectful Interviewers.
Okay.
And it pulls together various instances where well-known figures directly confront interviewers for, well, different reasons.
So our mission here is to really dig into the examples only shown in that video, dissect those specific moments, try to understand why the celebrity reacted based only on what the video shows happened,
Right, based just on the clips.
what the interviewer did or asked, and what these interactions reveal about the boundaries, expectations, and frankly, the sheer pressure in the world of celebrity interviews.
Yeah, we're setting the stage to look at some pretty intense face-offs and analyze how different celebrities handled being put squarely on the spot, drawing only from the video's examples.
Let's start with a theme that pops up a few times in the video. Personal attacks and irrelevant digressions. The video highlights this tense moment with Matthew McConaughey and Joy Behar.
Yeah, in that clip, McConaughey's talking about Novak Djokovic's parents, reflecting on his background, and Behar just interrupts him.
And what did she interrupt with? Like, what was the context?
Just to call Djokovic an anti-vaxxer, it's an immediate left turn from what he was discussing, a total non sequitur, really.
Wow. Right. And then, according to the video, it only got worse. She pivoted to question his potential political aspirations regarding being anti-gun in Texas.
That's right, she asks him, do you think he would get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
And we see McConaughey's response. He says,
He says, do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is playing a game that I'm not interested in playing, to give you a direct statement right there.
The video points out, from that moment, McConaughey's aggravation became unmistakable. He clearly saw her line of questioning, particularly that political pivot, as like trying to box him in or force a political statement he wasn't there to give.
A really strong signal that he wasn't going to engage on those terms based on that example. The video also shows Tom Cruise dealing with some incredibly intrusive questions about his divorce from Nicole Kidman from an interviewer named Peter.
Oh, this clip is notorious. The interviewer just comes right out and asks, was Nicole the love of your life? Just like that.
Exactly. And you see Cruise's reaction kind of trying to process it. He responds, what do you mean, Peter? You were married for 10 years. Listen, we raised children. He was pointing to the history and the shared life.
Yeah, the reality of it.
But the interviewer keeps pushing, asking about their parenting relationship.
That's when Cruise really draws the line, and it's a clear one. He says directly, listen, here's the thing, Peter. You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
So firm. And the interviewer tries to deflect, right, saying, I suppose there are questions, though, that people want to know?
Yeah, blaming the audience.
But Cruise doesn't let him off the hook. He turns it back, firmly stating, Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people be. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now. You're honored.
You're honored. Wow. That line just hangs in the air. He makes it absolutely clear that the interviewer is responsible for his own invasive questions, not some vague people. Another really difficult example shown in the video is Lindsay Lohan's interview with David Letterman, which the video describes as widely criticized.
Yeah, that one was tough. In that clip, she was there to promote a movie, but Letterman openly mocked her personal and legal troubles, focusing specifically on her rehab stays.
The questions were relentless, weren't they?
Yeah.
Just hammering on it.
They were. Things like, aren't you supposed to be in rehab now? How long will you be in rehab? How many times have you been in rehab? And this one, what are they rehabbing? First of all, what are they going to work on?
Just brutal. And you can see her trying desperately to steer it back to the positive, back to the movie she was there to talk about. She actually says...
She says, we're here for a movie. We have to, let's stay on the positive.
Yeah.
Like pleading almost.
But the video shows it just keeps going. It highlights how much it impacted her, saying she was on the verge of tears, her voice noticeably shaping as she tried to convey that she wasn't taking her situation lightly or making a joke of it.
It's a really tough moment to watch. Definitely shows the emotional vulnerability even a well-known star can experience under that kind of, well, badgering.
Absolutely. It's a stark contrast to the polished persona. Let's shift gears slightly to another theme the video illustrates quite prominently. Comments and fixations on physical appearance or body. Jonah Hill is a prime example presented in the compilation.
Right. The video points out that Hill has faced numerous jokes about his weight in various interviews, and it compiles some of the examples.
Like what? What kind of things were they asking?
It's just really pointed questions like, do you think it's important to be unattractive to be funny? Can skinny people be funny? And just flat out, are you the fat guy in Hollywood still?
That's rough. And then there's that one that's presented as almost a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, first of all, you smell good, which is surprising.
Don't think it.
The video shows Hill visibly reacting to that, noting it's such a, I'm going to really work hard to not take that as a shot.
You can see him trying.
His response to the overall pattern of questioning is pretty direct, though, right there in the video. He asks, well, don't understand. Can you just ask a normal question? He's clearly just fed up.
Yeah, fed up with the constant focus on his appearance rather than his work or, just him as a person. Christina Hendricks is another example shown. The video states she hates it when interviewers make comments about her body.
And it shows an interaction where she's called an inspiration as a full-figured woman and then asked for her most inspiring story related to that.
How did she react?
You see her awkwardness initially, saying, I don't know, I'm sorry, kind of flustered.
But the interviewer doesn't drop it, right? They try again.
Exactly. They
Right.
try to ask the same question again.
Oh, come on.
And she shuts it down just by pointing out the repetition. She says, I mean, you just said it again. It's just sort of, it's subtle maybe, but a firm way of saying we're not doing this, especially not twice.
Good for her. Anne Hathaway, during interviews for The Dark Knight Rises, also faced what the video calls an unusual fixation on her physical fitness.
Yeah, the interviewer starts with a comment about her being in phenomenal shape, which, okay, may be fine on its own.
Maybe.
But then they immediately push it further.
Right. They follow up with, you had to make sure you were in perfect shape for this one, didn't you?
And Hathaway tries to pivot, tries to explain that it wasn't about perfect shape. It was about being able to do the stunts and the fighting perfectly. She's trying to focus on the physicality required for the role, the actual work.
Makes sense. But the interviewer just keeps going down the appearance road, asking about diet, workout, using that weird phrase, feline fitness regime.
Yeah, that was strange.
And pressing even further. Are you trying to lose weight? What's the deal, man? You look great. No, seriously. We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
What do you want? Are you trying to fit into a cat suit yet?
The video highlights her growing frustration. It's such a clear example of an interviewer completely missing the point the celebrity is trying to make about their work and just fixating inappropriately on their body.
Definitely. We also see Megan Fox in the video dealing with a reporter who's, well, pretty clearly attempting to flirt. He says something like,
He says, I don't know if there's a man alive who's not in love with you in some way.
oh boy. And you see Fox's reaction. How does she handle that?
She responds, you're so silly. Am I really, you're a silly man? No, I'm not silly at all. Silly man in a checkered shirt. I am not. Kind of deflecting with humor, maybe.
Maybe, but uncomfortable humor.
Eh.
The video explicitly notes how this interview has not aged well, especially since Fox has spoken out about her experiences with objectification in Hollywood.
That context is important.
Yeah. It also mentions her line later in the clip, I think you're flirting with me. Kidding? Oh, dude. Showing her discomfort even if she tried to play it off.
And the video briefly includes an example involving Matt Lauer and Sandra Bullock, where Lauer makes a comment about her nude scene. Yes, I have now seen you naked. The video shows Bullock's reaction, which was, no, not after this interview, and points out that this interview aged poorly and was followed by allegations against him.
Right. These examples from the video really underscore how questions focused on physical appearance, weight, or attractiveness, even when they're maybe framed as compliments, can be perceived as really intrusive and inappropriate by celebrities.
Okay, let's move to the third theme identified in the video, invasive or ambushing personal or opinion questions. Tom Hardy actually appears twice here. First, in a clip from 2015 when he's asked about his sexuality.
The reporter's lead-in, as shown in the video, is quite something, isn't it?
It is. Your own sexuality seems a bit more ambiguous.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard for celebrities to talk to to talk to media about their sexuality? It's quite clunky too.
Very. And you see Hardy's initial reaction in the clip. What on earth are you on about? Just pure confusion, maybe annoyance.
Yeah, the video notes his visible agitation, but credits him with keeping his cool and being commended for asserting boundaries.
And he does that by turning the question back on the interviewer directly, right?
Exactly. He asks, "Are you asking me about my sexuality?" Sure. Why? He forces the interviewer to own the invasive nature of the question rather than hide behind some general query about celebrities. Smart move.
Very. The video also includes another separate clip with Hardy from a Dark Knight Rises interview. This one is described as a painfully awkward segment.
Oh, yeah. The interviewer prefaces the question by saying he knows what it's like to be outgunned by estrogen, which is already a bit weird.
A bit, yeah. His question to Hardy is, did you ever think, why aren't all these women in here? I thought this was supposed to be a man's movie.
Hardy's shutdown is just beautiful in its simplicity. Based on the clip, he just says, "No, not for 1 minute."
Boom. Done. He completely dismisses the interviewer's frankly sexist premise.
Totally. Michael B. Jordan's example in the video is unique because the tension stems from a past personal history. The video shows the moment Jordan recognized a reporter who, according to the video's framing, was a former classmate who had bullied him before he rose to fame.
Wow, that's awkward.
Extremely. The reporter makes this awkward acknowledgement saying, "And you know, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark." Okay. A corny kid, right? I did not say that. Miss Kid for sure. No, you did not hear me say. I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killing things out here. It's just messy.
Yeah, and trying to smooth it over, but maybe making it worse. It's clear there's unresolved history there.
For sure. And the video notes that the situation got even more awkward when Jonathan Major joined them, and the interviewer made a comment to him that also seemed to create discomfort. Isn't this the sexiest man show-off right here? It just shows how pre-existing relationships, even negative ones, can spill over into these public interviews.
Definitely adds another layer. One of the most abrupt endings featured in the video compilation is Robert Downey Jr. with interviewer Krishnan Guru Murthy.
Ah, yes, Guru Murthy again. The video shows him trying to ask about a quote RDJ gave to the New York Times after his incarceration, specifically about not being liberal.
And RDJ tries to deflect, right? He asks, are we promoting a movie? Clearly indicating he wants to stick to the film.
He does. But the video states RDJ's blood boiled when the interviewer pressed further into his personal life, asking about his relationship with his father, his past drug use, and whether he was now free of all of that.
That's the point where RDJ just pulls the plug.
Yeah.
In the clip, he says, I'm sorry, I really don't. What are we doing?
And the interviewer says, well, I'm just asking questions, that's all.
And RDJ just cuts him off with, right, okay, bye. And he's out. Just gone.
Yeah. And the video includes RDJ's later comments about the interviewer, calling him a bottom feeder with a creepy, dark agenda, and emphasizing, we're promoting Avengers. This has nothing to do with your creepy, dark agenda. A really strong reaction.
Absolutely. He felt it was an ambush focused on past trauma rather than his current work. Okay, let's look at the final category of pushback shown in the video. Challenging professional work or opinions, or simply dismissing the premise of the question or situation entirely.
Right. The compilation includes Gordon Ramsay, known for being hot-tempered, reacting to what the video calls a gotcha journalist.
What was the gotcha?
This journalist attempts to ambush Ramsay with photos of what's called an allegedly unsatisfactory steak from one of his restaurants and asks him, am I satisfied that it's a good steak?
Ramsay immediately confronts him about the setup, doesn't he?
He does. He says, it's really weird for you to give me a piece of paper. What are you trying to get at? He knows it's not a straightforward question. He smells the setup.
And the video explains Ramsay's reasoning for calling it out.
Yeah, the steak in the photo was ordered well done. And as Ramsay explains in the clip, you're never going to identify the quality of a beef when the steak is well cooked, which basically makes the question pointless from a culinary perspective.
So he calls it a bit of a stupid question.
He does. And he doesn't hold back. He delivers the line featured in the clip, I'm really sorry to piss on your bonfire, but it's a bit of a stupid question. He not only rejects the question, but gives a clear, professional explanation for why it's a flawed premise.
Using his expertise to shut it down. Clever.
Very. Joaquin Phoenix, during the Joker media tour, is shown expressing clear frustration with repetitive questions, particularly about his preparation and getting into the mindset for the role.
You see him in the video just dismiss it with obvious frustration, saying, "Isn't this old news? Isn't this old news? I feel like I've talked about this for 6 months." Like, he's so over it.
Completely. The video describes his response as sarcasm-fueled. He follows up by saying, "And thank you so much for asking that question. My publicist is telling me I just need to go home."
A sarcastic thank you for the repetitive question, paired with a signal he's ready to leave. Effective in its own way.
Definitely sends a message. Quentin Tarantino, also with Krishnan Guru Murthy, according to the video,
Him again?
is shown reacting powerfully when asked if movies had the potential to incite real-world violence, a question he clearly detests.
And Tarantino's refusal in the clip is incredibly strong, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He says, "Do not ask me a question like that. I'm not biting. I refuse your question." Why? Because I refuse your question. I'm not your slave, and you're not my master. You can't make me dance to your tune. I'm not a monkey.
Wow. He really drives the point home, repeating, and I'm saying I refuse.
Yeah.
He's not just declining to answer, he's rejecting the interviewer's right to even ask that question of him in that moment.
A very forceful assertion of boundaries. Finally, the video calls this last example the most bizarre. It's Jim Carrey at New York Fashion Week in 2017, launching into what the video describes as an infamous rant stemming from an existential crisis.
Right, this was everywhere. He just completely dismisses the entire event in his presence there, he says.
He says, "There's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am, just totally undercutting the whole scene."
And the video shows him challenging fundamental concepts like icons, stating, "Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist. I don't believe in icons." It gets very philosophical very quickly.
It does. He says things like, "I believe that peace lies beyond personality. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself."
And then, in the clip, he ultimately dismisses reality itself. He states, "There is no me. There's no you. We're not here. This is a dream. It's not our world. None of this is real. Nope. So you're just passing. We don't matter. We don't matter."
Which is, well, the ultimate shutdown, isn't it? Dismissing not just the interview, but the context of the event, the interviewer, and even reality, according to the video's framing.
Wow. Okay, looking across all these examples from the video, it's clear these celebrity interviews are far more complex and sometimes more fraught than they often appear. What are some of the key takeaways we can pull from these specific moments of pushback?
Well, drawing strictly from the video compilation, we can definitely categorize the types of questions or comments that prompted these reactions.
Okay.
There were the overly personal ones, right? About divorce, sexuality, past trauma, like RDJs. Then the intrusive comments or fixations on physical appearance and body. Jonah Hill, Christina Hendricks, and Hathaway.
Right, the body stuff is prominent.
Then you had the off-topic political or opinion questions thrown into promotional chats, like with McConaughey. There were instances of outright mocking or disrespectful tones, like Letterman towards Lohan.
The repetitive questions that clearly frustrated Phoenix.
Exactly, and those gotcha attempts, like the steak example with Ramsay.
And the reactions varied so much. Based on these clips, we saw everything from direct refusal, like Tarantino saying, "I refuse," or Hardy turning the sexuality question back, to clearly asserting boundaries, like Cruz saying, "You're stepping over a line."
Yeah, and trying to redirect back to the work they were promoting, which RDJ and Lohan both attempted.
We saw sarcasm from Phoenix, abrupt endings from RDJ, and, well, Carrey in his own unique way.
And importantly, explaining why the question was inappropriate or flawed. Ramsay did that brilliantly with the steak.
And then the ultimate dismissal, either of the premise like Hardy did with the man's movie question, or of the entire situation, like Carrey dismissing reality itself.
And, as the video showed through moments like Lohan being on the verge of tears, or McConaughey's obvious aggravation, or Hardy's initial agitation before he composed himself, or RDJ's blood boiling, as he later put it, these moments weren't always handled with perfect, cool composure.
No, absolutely not. There was real emotional impact happening, visible right there in the clips. Connecting this back to you listening, what does seeing these specific exchanges in the video help us understand? I think it shows that celebrity interviews aren't just soundbite factories or carefully curated photo ops. There's this constant tension around boundaries.
It really highlights the intense pressure public figures are under, doesn't it? And the sheer volume of scrutiny they face, where interviewers might probe into areas the celebrity feels are private or irrelevant or maybe just plain disrespectful.
And it gives us a glimpse, based solely on the examples the video chose to show us, into how different people navigate that pressure, how they draw their personal and professional lines.
And the various ways they react when they feel those lines are crossed, sometimes effectively, sometimes perhaps less so, but always revealing something about that interaction.
So we've taken a deep dive into some specific, often uncomfortable moments where the celebrity interview script got completely flipped, looking only at the examples of stars pushing back against perceived disrespect or invasiveness as presented in the source video.
Considering these examples where celebrities felt the need to assert boundaries or call out what they saw as inappropriate questions, what does this tell us about the often unseen dynamics and pressures of public life and media scrutiny?
How might seeing these specific interactions change the way you view celebrity interviews, or really any public conversations going forward? Something to chew on after this deep dive.